Hi ladies and gentlemen, Sean Davies, Coloradoreinsman. We are continuing on with our rescue horse, Tahota. He is one that was used in very unpleasant sport at the Mexican Rodeo. He was used as a tripping horse, and if you saw the first video, he still had some scabs on his legs and things. He's healing up pretty well from all that. We're about a month in, maybe a little less than a month in from him getting here, and a lot of what I've done is let him be a horse. I've put him in with my Andalusian gelding, and you know, he's gained a little confidence being around that horse. He's gotten out and played with some of my younger horses in training, and he's just a young baby, and he does have some fears that he has to overcome. A lot of the things that he's scared of have to do with anything low down to the ground. He gets worried about ropes, and you know, he stepped on the hose and things like that, and he gets a little worried. But I've been working on that slowly but surely. Some days he's a little tweaky, and then some days he's standing there like I've done it forever. Well, one of the things that we also work on is just getting him to pick up his feet more calmly, so I can get him trimmed. He's getting pretty flary and ugly, and I want to trim him. A lot of things. He's gaining some weight. I put him on an ulcer medication that I get in, and I think that's making a huge difference in his overall demeanor and his ability to gain weight. Certainly horses that were under the stress that he was under out at that so-called rodeo would definitely have ulcers. But what he's exhibiting to me most of the time right now is he's a 3-year-old. He was a 3-year-old stud. Now he's a 3-year-old gelding, but he's still young baby. So a lot of what I do with him is just have the patience to overcome the same things that any 3-year-old would have to overcome. Now he's A.D.D. He likes to move, he's fidgety. So one of the things that he likes to do is pull back when he's tied up. And Whitney Applegate from Colorado Horse Rescue Network had told me that he'd hauled back a couple really good times. So some of what I want to do is nothing more than just take this lead rope and either drape it over the post or maybe wrap it around one time, so we got a little bit of a slide to it. And if he pulls back, it goes with him. Eventually, he's gonna stop that stuff. Now I'm gonna ask him, I just wipe the mud off the outside of his foot. I'm gonna come down here and just ask him to pick his foot up. Good boy. Now see, he put all his weight on it. Good boy. Now right there he's fighting me. I don't want to try cleaning a foot while the horse is fighting me. Good boy. Right there he let go. I'm going to put that foot down and rub him. If I rush to try to clean that foot, he'd rear up and fly backwards, pull on the rope and things like that. So let's just take this one step at a time. I'm going to rub this joint right here and say, hey, give me your foot. Good boy. Now, you saw right there, if I'd had him tied fast, he would have pulled really hard. Now he's got a big old flat thoroughbred foot with the way it's flared out, but he's letting me clean him now, and I'm going to put that down. That's great. That's huge. Good boy. And I just want to really reward him for that. It's these little things that are going to make the huge difference. I was speaking with Whitney last night and said, yeah, it's a lot of little tiny successes that are going to make the big difference with this horse in the end. Now he's been touchy about his hind legs. Now what I want to do is just kind of block him there. I'd like to get him back up. I'm going to shorten this lead just a little bit. It will give with him, but at the same time, I don't want him getting silly. Now I'm going to ask him to just relax. Right here is the big scar on his leg where they pulled the rope around behind him and took his hind end out from underneath him. So you can see that little dark ridge in his hair right there. And that was a horrible rope burn. And how this horse lets anybody even touch his legs, it's amazing to me. But he's starting to get over things, and you'll see some old scars right here. That's all part of it. And how this horse isn't dead lame and broken, I don't know. Right there. I'm going to put that foot down, because for an instant he gave it to me. And I'm going to not get in a fight with him. Good boy. Good boy. And I want to try to keep myself out of the immediate kick zone. Now I'm going to put a little pressure right here. I'm just rub this joint, let him know, pick up. There we go. Good boy. And I want to put it down. He lost his balance. Who cares? I'm not in a race here. This is about gaining this horse's confidence. He's tied. He's not pulling. He gave me his foot. Put it down. Be satisfied for a minute. Rub. Let him know this is the foot I want. You're not going down and grabbing it. I'm not a rope. Look how he just got his weight off of that foot. Yes, he pulled. So what? He got his weight off of that foot for me. Patience is a virtue. When you're rehabilitating horses, you know, it kind of tends to be a little different than just training horses, but you better have the same patience or even more than when you're training a young horse. Here we're training a young horse that had major psychological issues coming from the mistreatment. Good boy. Now I'm going to keep my hand there this time. Now I'm kind of making sure he doesn't get too stupid. Good boy. A little frustrated. See, this is his kind of issue, and we've been working on it. Before, he would just kick. Good boy. Good boy. See, there he broke his foot over. When I first started this, he'd just kick at you. He was scared. He was worried about anything holding his foot. Because when they rope those legs and pull them out from underneath him, you know, that's a pretty frightening deal. Now I'll put a little pressure right there and say, break your toe over, right there. Keep the pressure. There you go. Good boy. That's what I'm looking for. He turned around and checked me out. I'm convincing him that nothing's going to hurt him. Nothing's going to hurt him. Now, I've cleaned his back feet before, but I don't assume every time that I'm going to get the exact same thing. Today could be a different weather pattern. It could be a different moon. He could be in a different mood. He's got his weight on the wrong foot there. I'm going to come down here and say, hey, put your weight on this foot, or on this foot. Oh, that's nice. If I was over there, I could clean it. I'm going to ask him. I just don't want him turning his butt towards me and clocking me. So I'm kind of going with him. See, that's where he gets in trouble. That's where he starts being a little silly. So I'm going to shorten him up again. Make sure he doesn't move. I want him to have that mobility. So he's just moving around today. And I'd really been working a lot on his fronts. He's given me his fronts nice. So now I have to be careful because ropes around his legs could be a very scary thing. So this is one of my 12-foot lead ropes, and I'm going to do nothing more than just ask him to be calm. And I have done a lot of tossing ropes around his legs, and he's good with that there. Now, I'm going to ask him, while I'm up here in a safe place, to pick that foot up. I'm going to put a little pressure and pick that foot up. I'm going to put a little pressure. See, I still got my pressure right there. I want him to get the pressure off his leg and not run me over. I'm going to put my elbow right up against him right here so he knows it's me. And if he starts to slam into me, he'll push me out of the way rather than step on me right there. Okay? He just pushed into me and I said, no, this doorway's closed. Good boy. See, I want him to learn that he can stand on 3 feet. I don't think this horse really ever had his feet done too terribly much. Good boy. Good boy. I want him to get his balance. Right there. Good boy. Good boy. Pick him up again. Get his balance. See, he's kicking. I want him to say, oh no, that doesn't get away. I can't get away. I can't get away. I can't get away from it. That door is closed. There he goes. Good boy. Good boy. Pick up. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. Pick up. I've got to be almost like that rope. This takes time and patience. Good boy. A little bit. I want him to get used to that feeling. Good boy. Getting a little bit too much freedom up here. If I have to, I'll go right back to my rope. See, I'm trying to tell him this door is closed. Good boy. Keep that pressure if I can. We're going to go back to our rope. That doesn't work. That door is closed. That door is closed. That door is closed. Good boy. That door is closed. That door is closed. That door is closed. That door is still closed. He gets frustrated. Good boy. Doesn't do any good. Good boy. Whew. It takes time. Good boy. Back to it. Good boy. So I don't want to pull real hard. I just want him to feel light contact with it and understand it's not killing him, but he can't just take it away. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. My hand. Good boy. And if that's all I get today, beautiful. Got it. And I'm happy. Good boy. Beautiful. Good boy. Good boy. That's a success story. I'm very happy. Patience is a virtue. Good boy. I'm going to take this rope with me on the other side. Now I'm going to change sides real quick with this young horse. Now I could walk way out there, but I'm going to tell him, I'm coming over here, young man. Good boy. Now I'm going to ask this foot. Good boy. Easy peasy stuff. You're a fine young man. You're a fine young man. Yes, you are. Now this foot right here, I'm going to ask him first. I'm just going to come down here and scrape some mud off of him. Well, he's really flared out, so the sooner I get these trimmed, the better. Make sure he doesn't stick a foot in my ear. Now I'm going to start. I always start up here and let him know everywhere I am. And come right here and rub that joint. And see, he took that pressure off, and I'm going to take that pressure off. Good boy. Come down here. And this is almost, it's like a conditioning movement. It's just a real soft little thing I do to ask them to give, like that, and pick up his foot. I'm not going to rush to clean it. I'm going to set it back down. Hey, wow, what a difference. What a difference. And I'm going to ask him again. Pick that foot up. And I don't want to dilly-dally here. How much nicer is that? Now I'm going to put that out of the way. You can see that big flare there. pretty flat on those heels, a very thoroughbred looking foot. Wow. Patience. I am happier than a bug. Whatever the heck that means. How happy are bugs? That's something to ponder. Okay, so there's his feet. Now other things that we've been doing were, and my lovely partner in crime around here, Danny Scott, has actually worked with him when she's grooming him to work with a spray bottle on his mane. Now you're pushing on me, and that's just not going to work. Now I've sprayed him with fly spray a little bit, but first I'm just going to come in here and rub him with this bottle. And he says, that's no big deal, man. And I'm going to ask him to just relax. He said, oh, that's scary, but it's not that bad. These old horses will amaze you sometimes. Now this little short chopped tail that you see, this horse is going to have a beautiful long tail one day. With that short chopped tail is so when they rope them around the neck, and he's got an old roughly cut bridle path up here, when they rope them around the neck, they ride their horse around, take that rope around those hocks. They don't want their rope getting caught in that tail. So they butcher it off. That was probably 4 inches shorter not too long ago. And that's so when they jerk his legs out from underneath him right above the hock, that they won't have the rope bound up. Okay. So I'm going to brush his mane up a little bit. Good boy. This horse, like I said in the first video, is extremely forgiving. He's the first one to the gate when I go over there. Well, Paladin's pretty quick to get to the gate, the Andalusian. But this horse is usually standing right there saying, hey, would you give me some love? And he does. He loves love. He also loves mud. Oh, I know, Junior. I know, Junior. He was a little mud ball a few minutes ago. Now, he has got a nice thick tail if it hadn't been butchered off like this. But it'll grow. Look at that beautiful tail. Alright, young man, so we're going to take him out and do a little work in the round pen, maybe a little work out in the arena. So alright, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tahota and I are out here in the round pen, and on the first video I didn't turn him loose because I wanted to have a little control over him. So we worked on the halter. He had to really start overcoming this bag, and a lot of times we got to kind of start from zero every time with this bag, because he worries so much about things down here below. But you're going to kind of see right now that the way that I get him to look at stuff, I take it away from him. I'll get it over in this eye, and I might just take it away from him. This horse looked at anything coming at him from the ground before like it was going to kill him. Because it was. Those ropes they throw at the front feet, cinch them up, jerk their feet right out from underneath them. And once again, I say how this horse is in one piece, I don't know. Because I said before, the next week, a mare went through with exactly the same cut tail, exactly the same scars on her legs, and her hock was broken. And that horse was humanely euthanized by Amber Harrell of Shiloh Acres and some other supporting rescues that she works with, because they felt that she couldn't walk. She did not need to be sitting around a slaughter lot on a truck going to Mexico with a broken hock. So how this guy's in one piece, it may be just that as a 3-year-old his bones were a little bit more flexible. So when we start with him, I'm just going to go right through my foundational movements, get his brain ready to work with my halter. Now you see, he really likes to just get right in your space and say, love me, but I have to tell him, If you're going to get along with people, I didn't ask him to go that way. If you're going to get along with people, you cannot just crush their space. So as traumatic as he's had things, I cannot allow him just to push people around. And he does try to push Paladin and some of the other horses around. He's a little 3-year-old trying to find his place. So I'm going to be putting some pressure on him, because that's the best thing for him. Stop. Good boy. I'm going to ask him to back out of my space. He goes, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. I'm going to have to put some pressure on him. Good boy. Good boy. See, I have to create that energy with my feet. I'm going to say, would you please step back? He's going, no, I don't want to, I don't want to. There. See, if I had just let him stand there all day and shake his head, I wouldn't be doing him a service. I'm going to bring him into me. Stop him. Back him up. Back him up. Come on. Back him up. Good boy. Pretty soon it's going to be like butter. But he's a 3-year-old. He's got a real short attention span and his memory's not very good. So I'm going to ask him to, I'm going to ask him to back up. Move his shoulder. Good boy. Go forward. Good boy. Ask him to move out a little bit. Good boy. He's still a little reactive, but he didn't blow up, rear up, and try to run away. He just said, oh, you want me to move that shoulder? You scared me. Okay, but what if I raise my hand and pushed him here? You see him right there. He bent, moved his shoulder up. So I'm going to set him up here, get his posture proper, and ask him to trot. Very good. Good boy. You see, he's got pretty good motion. He's got pretty good form, pretty good forward. I still, as I get him a little calmer, he's got to get a little better with his legs before I call the chiropractor out here and get him aligned, because I know this horse has to be out in about 10 different places. But he's moving pretty good. His form is good. He's tracking well around the circle. That's what this little movement right here is all about. Can we get this horse shaped up, moving forward, in good posture? Can we transition him down? Excellent, young man, excellent. This horse is all heart, I'm going to tell you. You look at that first video and the fear that was in his eyes, and now he's just going to work, because we've worked on this stuff. Now I'm going to change my tool, pick him up, ask his rear end to go around. I didn't tell you to go that way. Back him up. And come in and pat him on the side I was working. Take this little short opportunity to ask him to bring his head down. Good boy. Good boy. I've been working on hundreds of little tiny things to make him comfortable. Yep. I want him to back up right there. Good boy. Back up. I want him to move his shoulder. Good boy. I'm going to look forward, feed him some rope. Stand up tall, get my energy bubble kind of going out towards him so he'll expand down on our circles. Pick up, ask him to trot. I got a little bit in front of him, that's why he didn't go. There you go, young man. I like this horse. I like this guy. He's going, okay, we're going in the circle. Good boy. Now he's not as good a form going to the right. He tends to pull a little bit, but we're working on that. I want to keep looking around this circle. I'm going to drive him right here. Now, one of the reasons he's a little bit more reactive on his right side is the ropes. When they roped his neck, the rope comes around that right side to take his hocks out from underneath. So he was really reactive on this right side when he first came in. And as you see, he's not so bad now. And he's trying to figure it out. Good boy. So I'm going to reduce my energy. Think, walk. Good boy. It is magic. Good boy. I'm going to change my tool here. Pick up. Close my fingers. Push at his rear end. Stand up. Back him. I didn't have to go anywhere. Good boy. Turn sideways. Beat myself into him. And pet him. Very good. Very good. Now that is not lunging, sending in a circle, riding him from the ground. So everything I just did with him is going to set him up when I do get up on his back. I wanted him to gain quite a bit of weight before I went and got on his back, and I had to get his brain. And he is starting to fill in this top line. His rear end is looking better, his hips are looking better, so it won't be long before we start getting to see if he's ever been ridden, which I'm having a doubt that he was. But I also want to get him chiropractic adjusted before I start putting saddles on him and doing things like that, because I want to make sure he doesn't have a rib locked up that could pinch him and cause him to buck with just a saddle. So we're going to see here pretty soon how I get him with his feet. His feet have to be like butter, because that's one of the places where he needs to be able to pick his legs up and adjust him. So, now, I'm going to do another little movement with him, put a little pressure on him, get him motivated a little bit. Again, we're going to back up. Again, I'm going to move that shoulder. Now, again, we're moving in a circle. And now we're going to do some quicker changes. I'm going to change him and then go the other way. So I'll start getting him to balance on that front end, be able to turn on his haunches, turn on his forehand, and bring my hand under, pick up, step, push that rear end, move that shoulder, and get him going the other way. Switch his brain quickly from left side to right side. Start getting him not to be so reactive when you change from one side to the other. This exercise is extremely important. Now pick him up. Walk towards that rear end. Bring that shoulder around. Good boy. Good boy. Bring my flag. Pick up. Step and push towards that rear end. Stop that front end. Push that front end over. And off we go. Now that first couple weeks, this was a big thing, and he would jump sideways and rear up and try to go backwards and all that, because he doesn't know. Of course, he never had any groundwork. Never had anything worth a darn in his life. Pick up, step, and push at his rear end. Push that shoulder over. Good forward. Pick up. Step. Step. He's not where he needs to be yet, but he's starting to loosen that middle up a little bit. He's very tight through his middle. And this exercise helps loosen that middle up. Good boy. There we go. Good boy. He's not quite where I need him, but that's a start. Okay. Now, the other thing we like to do. Back him up. Send him between me and this fence. Now, everybody's seen these exercises right here. Everybody does them. but they work, so they're good exercises. You notice I'm getting closer and closer to this fence. Back him up. Move his shoulder. You're getting less and less claustrophobic. Back him up. Now I'm only about 3 feet, 4 feet away from that. Yep. Move that shoulder. Look through there. Look through here. Good boy. Some arm's distance. That's pretty good. He'll get in a trailer easier that way. Very good. Let him think about that for 2 seconds. Let's go for a little walk. Now when we go for a little walk, you see he wants to stick his nose right up on me, and I'm going to turn around, stop him, back him up a little bit, walk off. Well, you notice I'm leading this horse from 6-7 feet out in front of him. Now I know that in 4-H and a lot of other things, they show you in showmanship that you're leading right next to that horse. And even I have to do that when I do the Extreme Mustang makeovers and we do the in-hand work. We have to lead them in a showmanship stance. But in real world work, if this horse would get spooked and I was leading right next to him, there's a good chance that he's going to rear up and rip your arm right out of the socket. Or he's going to rear up and put his foot right down on your head before you can move. Or he's going to run you over because you're right there, and if something on that offside spooks him, especially a horse like this or a wild Mustang, that when we're doing lead training with them, you don't want to be right up underneath their chin or next to their shoulder. You don't have any time to react. This also helps them learn where that safe distance is for you. And that's all important with these horses. But when you do showmanship class, hey, you got to do what they ask. Stop. Good boy. Now I could have backed him up a step there, but he did so well there, I just want to reward him. He was a big baby. This horse, so nice. Stop, man. So nice. Now, so that was a nice relaxing exercise for him. He didn't have to do too much there. Next, I'm going to run through kind of a close contact exercise where I'm going to use my bag and put a little pressure on him. So I'm going to pick him up here. I'm going to walk around towards this hip. I'm going to ask that hip to move forward. So we're doing a rear end disengagement. Holding that head and shoulder up, asking that hind end to step under. Oh, I like that. And I'm going to just stop right there, extend my arm out, let him kind of bring through. He didn't quite bring his head through, but I'm still going to pet him on this offside. Pushing on him. What are you doing, young man? Good boy. Now, all the work I've done with this bag has gotten him not to be quite so fearful. First time or two I used this bag, you saw that first video, this bag scared the holy bejesus out of him. Now, it's not that big of a deal. Now I'm going to raise my energy right here and ask him to step forward and under, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, drive forward, good boy, good boy, good boy. Let him come out of that. Good boy. You know, that looks like a horse I've worked for 6 months. That was so smooth. I'm very happy with him. Once this, oh, don't you push me with that head. Once this horse's brain got out of fear and reaction mode, that he was going to be pretty good. Now I'm going to take this bag here. Now he wanted to walk away when I picked up that bag, so I'm going to rub him with that bag right there. And he's going, That bag doesn't scare me now. That bag doesn't scare me now. Because I know it's just rubbing me. Look how relaxed he is. Now I'm going to pick up this bag and change sides. And I'm going to come in here and pet him. Now the first video I do that horse was over there. Beautiful young man. And I said it before, this horse is about the most forgiving horse that you want to have. Now see right there, I kind of changed him. I'm rubbing him. I'm going to pick this bag up. Come in here and pet him. Now he's moving, but he's not moving with fear. Now I'm going to stop him. Stop, 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 stop. I'll block him right there. Good boy. Nope. Don't do him a service if I just let him push through. I'm asking him to stop again. Good boy. Good boy. A lot goes into rehabilitating a horse. You cannot go in there and think that rubbing lavender on their nose is going to solve all the things. But you know what? I've rubbed lavender on a lot of horses' nose and it works. It helps calm them down. But you got to use some horsemanship. You've got to put some pressure. You've got to get them to overcome. Otherwise, you're just feeding their fears. Now, we've only got a few months to get this horse to where he's a safe, adoptable horse. I think we're on the right track. Now, first 2 weeks, I have that thing down on the ground right there, and he's freaking out, jumping all over it. Now he's pretty good about it. Other thing that we've worked on a lot, another simple exercise that everybody does in videos, but when it's on a tripping horse with ropes that had gone around their legs, I've worked a lot with this because I need him that if you ever dropped your rein, if you're riding with a Makati rein or you had a lariat on your saddle, which you might be asking for a lot from this horse, if your lead rope fell down and got wrapped around his leg, I don't want him freaking out, flipping over, cracking his skull, or freaking out if you drop your rein and him taking off. So things like these ropes, that's how I was able to do those hind feet. I had to get him to overcome his fear of ropes. Good boy. And that's pretty darn good for this guy. Very, very pleased with where he's come so far. I've even started working on some lateral movements with him. So if I send him, I'm going to back him up right here. His backup is the one thing that we got to work on a little bit more. And then we got to bring him over here to the fence. I set him up, I asked him a leg yield. Massage horse, anyone? Rudimentary, but darn good to start with. Back him up. I'm asking him. Letting him figure it out. Letting him figure it out. Good boy. Correct him around me. Put his nose to the fence. Now you guys have seen all these things before. Now right there he wanted to push on me. I'm going to have to push some air at his eye, raise this hand, and ask him to leg yield. Just step over with those inside hinds, inside front. I want him to cross in front of his outside legs, which are on your side. Now you had to put a little pressure on him. He's bracing up. I want him to move. See, this right side is still a little bracy. Good boy. Got to get that leg to step. 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 Don't do that. Step. 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 Good boy. Now I've noticed this right hip does not fluidly step up underneath his body. That's where the chiropractic adjustment or some body work. I've got some good people locally that can do some work like that. And I have a feeling when they wrap that rope around, trip those legs out, he falls on that hip. I have a feeling his hip may be out. Could have some locked up ribs. I notice he's got a little bit of a hump right here on his rib area. Very likely got some ribs out. You're lucky you don't have every bit of your spine broken, your hip broken, but you're doing pretty darn good, young man. Now, my round pin still got a couple of wet spots from some rain that we had, so I'm not going to push him too terribly hard, but we're going to ask him to move off. Now, as long as he's going this direction, I can be a stickler and say, hey, I want you to go that way. I'm going to kind of just take it easy with him. But I am going to remind him that eating leaves while we're in here working is not allowed. So first time I had him in here to free round pin, he looked over this railing like he wanted to jump out all the time. He figured out that as long as he moved forward, he was fine. He said running away wasn't a big deal. So I want to line up with this hip. I'm going to look forward. Give him a kiss. Help him. Good boy. He's got some nice movement. I'm going to stride out here and ask him to move a little bit. Very nice. I'm going to push him into this extended trot a little bit. See if he'll pick up just a little bit of canter. Good boy. We're slippery there. I don't want to canter him too much. But he picked up his correct lead. That was a big thing. Let's get him over here a little bit. Wrong lead. Very switch. Nice flying lead change, young man. And he knows it's slippery right there, so he's not going to push it. Now I'm going to ask him to come down. I'm going to relax. I'm going to think. Relax. Walk. Good boy. Keep going. Don't relax too much. He leaves. Good boy. So already, and I do free round pitting with him in short bursts. So remember, he's 3 years old. He's going to have A.D.D. So if you work this into the ground, he's going to start resisting. He did everything I asked of him that way. Now I'm going to ask him to turn. I'm going to change my stick. I'm going to pull this eye. Look at his rear end. See if he'll pay attention to me here. He's a little bit distracted by those leaves on the ground. So if I have to, I'll put some pressure on him here in a second. He said, I don't know what the heck you want. Oh. So I'm going to come back into the middle, put a little more pressure on him, get him going, so he'll pay attention to me. Now, I'm going to help him. I'm just going to kind of back away from him. Good boy. If all I get from this little horse is him to stop and look at me, I'm happy. Who cares? I'll get a lot more later. Say, don't you eat leaves, pay attention to me. Good boy. I'm going to come in here and ask him to stand there while I pet him. This is all rudimentary stuff. Later on, he'll just come trotting across the arena to me, but right now, just getting him to stop and look at me is good enough. Considering that If I was him, after what people have done to me, I'd probably run over and stomp up and down on somebody's head. So I'm going to ask him to go the other way here. I'm going to kind of look this way, push in right here, push his eye. Pick him up a little bit. I want to look out where I want him to go. Be in line with that hip, and I can see his body out of the corner of my eye. I'm looking forward, striding out, keep that forward motion going. I want to use my stick the least amount that I can. If I feel him come down, I'll put a little flick on it. Good boy. Let's ask him to walk. Good boy. Don't stop your feet, just picture it. Relax down in your mind. Good boy. Let's stand up tall. Let's ask him to trot. 1001, 1002, 1003. He didn't go. There he went. So I had to use my stick to aid. Good. 2 kisses. I'm going to wait for him to get past over here before I push him. Good boy. Good canter. Bring him down. Still too muddy right there. Pick him up. Long lead. Switch. Good lead change. Good boy. Good boy. Bring him down. Bring him down. Let him feel that relaxation. Good boy. Pick him up. Look at his butt. See if I can get his nose off that rail. He's thinking. Good boy. Come on, young man. Look at me. Hey. Pay attention to me. Good boy. Good boy. I had to remind him that I was here. You don't eat. Good boy. See, when he gets to relax, he wants to go right there eating leaves. I can't break the ground for him every day as the leaves fall, but come on, I wanted candy. Good boy. Good boy. Who's a baby? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We couldn't do this the first week. Yes, sir. Wait a minute. She moved. So for my finale, I'm just going to put the halter on him, take him out, walk him over the bridge, just move him around for a couple minutes, and we're going to call it a day for him. So stay tuned. All right, buddy. Good boy. Now I'm going to look over this bridge. I like to send him over, push him over right there, let him go between those barrels. See, this little horse, he's basically doing everything I ask him to do. Look through, good boy. Right over here. Okay, so he's not a jumper in the making. I gotta look over this way. He says, I'm tired. This is where his A.D.D. and his little baby brain says, I've had enough. Come on. You gotta figure that out. Hey, see, right now he's getting to a point where he's had enough. I'm going to say, get going forward. Get going forward. He cannot resist. drive forward, 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 drive forward. Good boy, good boy. That gives me a training opportunity. Right there, he pushed on me. That gives me a training opportunity. Good boy. See, out here in the open, it's a little different for him. There, he figured out where forward was. Good boy. Look at you. I'm telling him, go forward. Go forward. Good boy. And stop. And back up. Good boy. Good boy. We'll still work on the jumping of the cavaletti, but I can't ask for better from this little horse. He's 3. He's still going to have his issues. We've worked quite a while today. Good boy. Let's look at what we've worked. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That wasn't horrible. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That was beautiful, young man. That was beautiful. Good boy. I'm going to turn him around here. Who's a baby boy? You're a good boy. Sometimes I will do that after I work them. I mess with their feet. Sometimes their brain is a lot more into giving mode than when you first are grooming them. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That's a good place to end, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Mr. Tahota, our rescue tripping horse, 3 years old, thoroughbred. He is going to be a wonderful little horse. Stay tuned for more.